Hello and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing part 5 of my everything I've ever coloured. So that's including whips, which is works in progress if you're not familiar with that term. Basically any picture that I've started and have yet to complete. So yeah, I've got a few odd books to get out of the way with first, and then I'll be focusing entirely on my Johanna Basford and also my few Disney books as well, so stick it out to the end for that. If you've not seen the earlier parts of this series, I'll put one of those clicky things up in the corner. It'll be to a playlist which includes all the previous parts to these coloured pictures. So yeah, let's get started. So let's start with this one, which is the One Colour Art Animal Stencils. This is a book by Sunlife Drawing. It's one of my switch off type books where, you know, you don't have to really think about it. The concept of it is that you do it in just in one colour. I tend to do it in two at least. But yeah, basically this is what I do when I don't want to have to think about shading or anything like that, and I don't fancy a mandala all the time. So yeah, this is one I did just this month, so you might have just seen this in my July finish pages. I'll include a link to the July finish pages video if you've not seen that. But yeah, so two-tone. I really like this colour combo of the teal and orange. I just did it in alcohol markers. You can just see it shadowing through there. And then what else have I done? I did this. So I've done this in glitter gel pen. I'm not sure if you can see it. You might be able to see a little bit of sheen. But yeah, I tend to use this book for pens that, you know, I think might run out, which is another reason why I do it two-tone, because I think if one's going to run out, then it won't mess up the whole picture. You know, I've got, it's the risk is split that my pen will run out before I finish the whole picture. So yeah, I did that in May. So I think that was one of the first ones I got, because I've only had this book a couple of months. And I thought I had another one before that one, it must be after. And I've got this one, my salamander one. I've just noticed I've only been doing horizontal pictures. Or is he? Maybe he could go that way. I don't know. No, I think he's that way, isn't he? But again, yeah, see, I've used two tones. I think I did that in Super Tips. Yeah, I didn't even use markers, alcohol markers for that, which is rare. But also a sign of... Now I know I've done one more in here. Where is it? I must have skipped it. Right, there he is. So my little red squirrel. I actually did this in metallic markers that I was sure was about to run out. Again, another reason why I've done it in two-tone. And I think it did run out, just the red one did just run out at the end. But yeah, so he's sort of a metallic squirrel. Yeah, so that's what I've done in that. And then I will very quickly do this one, because I've only done one picture in this one. This was, I only paid 99 cents for this book. Ordinarily I probably wouldn't buy a book like this, but one, it's quite small, so that appealed to me. The pictures, there's not many pictures that appeal to me, to be honest, but I thought it would make a good one for when I am travelling. But also, like, the paper is really good, so I thought it would be a good book to experiment in, which is exactly what I've done here. I've got some metallic watercolours. Then they're really cheap ones, so you know they're not super shiny. You do get, I don't know if you do get a little glint of sheen with them. And basically I'd seen somebody else do a page where they'd done like a watercolour background and this effect where they'd taken the key lines and, you know, so they'd made a silhouette out of the image. So I thought, oh, I'll give that a go. And then if it goes wrong, it doesn't matter, because I don't care too much about this book or this picture for that matter. And while some of the blending between the watercolours is a bit iffy, I quite like it. It worked out okay, so I think in future I will probably try this effect on a proper picture, you know, or maybe I'll just try it out again because I'm a coward. But yeah, I mean, in theory I did like how this turned out. So that was that one. And on to my Disney books, I think. Okay, so we'll start with this one. So this is my Disney Mosaics book. It has 60 images in it. It's one of these notepad style ones that opens up that way, and is notorious for falling apart. So I just took the page out that I wanted to colour, and then I copied it onto different paper. I copied it onto my cardstock. So I've done this one. That's the one that's from the book. Obviously, as I knew it was going to fall out, I just tore it out, and I copied it. Now, this is my normal cardstock that I copy things onto, and the thing I found out about this is because this side is slightly smooth, it actually works really well with super tips. And those are words I never thought I would ever utter, but super tips works really well. It just glides over this paper, and because I'm only doing little squares, I don't get the streaks. And even if there was a little bit of a streak, it doesn't matter because it's meant to be a mosaic effect. So I originally got this book because I want the Disney Vitro one, which I don't know if you're familiar. It's a massive book of stained glass windows, but I wasn't sure if I would like the style. This one I thought was like a sort of cheaper way to, because it's about half the price, this book, a cheaper way just to test to see if I like the style. And I do. I love this book. I've done a few from it, and I would like to do more. But yeah, so I've done that all in super tips. I think on this one I actually tried out a little bit of shading across, because I know some people do it to make it more 3D effect on the tiles, but I think I decided I didn't particularly like it. I enjoyed this to be, you know, a nice easy colouring thing without much thought. So that's that one I've done. And then another picture I've done in here is the front cover. So I'll take that out again. You see there's the original one. So I didn't copy it exactly, probably because I didn't have the colours, to be honest, but yeah, so this is again was done in super tips, and it's really quick to do in that I'm pretty sure I did this in about an hour and a half or something, if that, maybe 2 hours, I don't know. I know it didn't take me long. I knew I did it all in one afternoon, one sitting pretty much. So yeah, and I really like that. Again, super tips. Who knew that I would actually, it would be my pen of choice, but for these on this paper and this style, super tips are the way to go. So yeah, I did that. When did I do that? 24th of August 2019. And then I've done one more. I did Vanellope, that's the original. This one I'm a little less pleased with because I think I just went a little bit dark on her face, so she looks like she's, you know, Candy herself. But yeah, but apart from that, you know, yeah, another one I really like. It was super easy. This one I actually decided to try out, and I put some glitter gel pen just between the, well, over the key line in her hair and in her eyes, just to give a little bit of, it's not sparkle, but just to give a little bit of interest when you tilt the page. And that's, I've used a pink one there, pink one in her hair, and then a gold, well, sort of bronze one in her eyes, so that gives the impression that maybe if you're looking really closely she's got brown eyes. Because these bits were actually coloured in on the original, it's black, so I didn't have a choice of eye colour for her. But yeah, those are my 3 from there. I do like this book. I need to get back to this book. I might try and colour one this month from that if I have time. Okay, and on to the next one, which again is one of these sort of A4 notepad style books that opens upwards and falls apart. Now, I treated this book so tenderly because everybody had said about it falling apart, but it's still just the first 2 pages broke. I think it's basically impossible unless you never touch the book. You'll never, it's always going to fall apart at one point. So eventually I'm gonna I'll take these apart and put them into folders. I think that's the only way to do it, because eventually it's just going to get damaged. But this is my Merida, or do you say Merida? I can't remember. Merida, no, it's Merida, isn't it? Anyway. So I did this mostly because it had a lot of fine detail on this. I did do a lot of this in fine liners. A little bit I did in alcohol markers, the bigger areas, because I've got some of those Sharpie ultra fine points. So, and I did her silhouette. So basically the concept of this book is you colour in the outside and you're left with a silhouette of a character in the middle, and then what you do with that is up to you. I decided to colour this one in, but just really pale green. I had this idea that I would put red and orange up the top to reflect like that's where her hair is, but it's a bit, didn't come out quite how I imagined, but it's all right, but it's just didn't come out in my head how it was in my head. And then I've used a little bit of gold, no, bronze, I think that was the Uniball Signo bronze pen to do her bow, and then a little bit of gold gel pen to do some of these swirls. And also, what colour is that? That's a sort of, yeah, is that the bronze? That's the bronze as well. I've done the bronze on the sort of Celtic pattern, and also on these rock things. But yeah, really simple image. It took me a really long while to do though. Oh my days. I think just because there was so much fine detailing in here, and I did do it all. I could have just gone over like in big blocks, but I didn't. I decided to make a rod from my own back, do all the little details. So it did take me a while, but I really like how it turned out, as I say. So that was a bit of alcohol marker, bit of fine liners, and then some Signo, Uniball Signo gel pens for that. And then the only other picture I've done in here is Donald. So I looked up his colour palette, because Donald does have a colour palette with his little sailor suit, which is basically red, yellow and blue. So it's very, very, very vibrant. And I did this in, believe it or not, I did that in gel pen. Not glitter or anything, but like just, I've got a set that's got some regular coloured gel pens in it. Just normal, not metallic, just like a felt tip pen, except it's not, it's a gel pen. So I used the gel pen for that just because I could. I do like to try and use up all my supplies. And then for this, because it felt a bit sort of arty comic book type, just because of the colours were so bright, vibrant. So I got some watercolour pencils. I know some people do this by putting paint on a toothbrush and flicking it, but I don't do it that way. I just get a water brush pencil, and then you have your water brush, you know, the one with the barrel on the end that's wet, holds the water. But if you do that, that's the pencil and this is your brush. If you do that, then that will flick the paint as well. So I did that in sort of the red, the yellow and the blues as well. I've got a bit up there, but that doesn't matter, because as I say, I'm going to take this book apart eventually, just to add a little bit of speckling in the background. And this, I just put acrylic black paint over Donald. But yeah, that's my Donald in his Donald palette of colours. And that's all I've done out of that book. Another book that I really need to get back to, because I do like this one. Just they take me a while to do because the outlines are quite detailed. Okay, so this is another book. I picked this book up from the from Walt Disney World. So this is, I think it's only available in the parks. I've only done one picture out of here. You may have seen it in my July finish pages, because this was a work in progress for ages, and I finally finished it in July of this year. So I did this in a bunch of different things because I really struggled with the paper on this. And in the end, I found out that pencils with hard lead work better, but I didn't know that to start with, so I had waxy pencils to start with. So this was in luminance along with her skin. Over small areas it wasn't too bad, but over the larger skirt I just couldn't get rid of the tooth. And you know, you do the pencil and you could literally see the colour of the wax being pushed across the paper as opposed to just sitting there. It was just, oh, it was a nightmare. And it kind of soured me for this book really. But anyway, I did luminance for this. Then I thought I'd try something a little bit harder, so I tried some Black Widow pencils, which again didn't work too bad on the smaller areas, but then I used it on the roof and found I had the same problem with the, I mean, you can see it's quite patchy. I couldn't get it to just lay flat. So then I tried even harder pencils, so I dug out my Marco Raffines, and this is where it just started to work a bit better. I mean, I don't actually like my Marco Raffines very much anymore. I usually do them just over alcohol markers for a bit of shading, but I used them for this and it did seem to work. And then eventually I got to my Faber-Castell polychromos. I haven't got a full set of those, I've just got a few open stock. So I tried them on there and these were the ones that worked the best in the end. So hard pencils is the answer. And then for the sky and for the ground, I just used a bit of Mungyo chalk pastels. Oh, and a bit of gold gel pen on the flagpole and on the door brackets hinges, you know, just to do the embellishments. So yeah, that is my Belle. I really like this book, but the paper is a nightmare, so I will have to start copying them. Oh, I forgot about that. I couldn't make up my mind whether I was going to do Belle or Sleeping Beauty first. And yeah, so I started with the skin, which was brave of me because I'm not very good with skin and pencil. But there we go. That's that book done. And then again, this is another one because this is a really recent purchase. I only bought this in July and I've done one picture in it so far. And that's my Esmeralda. I based her in alcohol markers and the goat and her clothes. And then I used Black Widow pencils over the top for the purples because they have quite vibrant colours in the Black Widow. So I used that for the purples and also her skin, which is the first time I've ever... I mean, she's not even that sort of darker skin tone, but I'm such a wimp when it comes to doing skin tones that I only do one way, and you know, which is my, you know, my colour, which is pale, unless I get too carried away and then they look sunburned. So this is the first time I've ever attempted, apart from once I tried a girl with a demon, so she had red skin. This is the only time I've ever ventured out doing skin tones. I'm really happy with it. It's not perfect, but you know, I think she's got a good, she looks a healthy colour as opposed to a messed up colour, so happy with that. And then the stained glass window I've done in Uniball Signo gel pens, and it's really, really shiny. I love how that looks, especially compared to her, because she's obviously done in pencil. The only glitter she's got on her is I did her because she's got these little gold coin things like the belly dancers and a big hoop earring, so I gave her those. She needed some bling, but yeah, apart from that, all the bling is on this stained glass window, which I really like how this turned out. I hope you can see. Yeah, so that was that. Again, that was just done in July, so you might have seen that already. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, onto my Johanna Basford books. Secret Garden was like my first real colouring book that I invested in, so I have a real soft spot for Johanna. Plus I like colouring flowers, never get bored with that. So I'm going to start with this one, even though I'm only going to show one picture out of it, of what I've actually coloured. This is the part 5 of everything I've coloured. Part 6 is going to be all of my PDFs and stuff that are on individual sheets. So the actual drawing part from this book is going to be included in part 6. So if you want to see that, you'll have to watch the next part, which hopefully I'll get up in a few days after this one. But yeah, I'm just going to show you the picture I've coloured, which is basically just the contents page. I did it in gel pen. I used the... Did I? I think I used my... No, I've used the Signo... Sorry, I'm having a debate here about whether I used my Signo, my Uniball Signos, or my Pentel Dual Metallic, but they don't shift. So this is all Uniball Signo, and yeah, just a little bit of simple gel pen. I don't actually mind. I've coloured a few pages, as you'll see in the other books. I don't mind doing pictures, flowers and stuff in gel pens, because these I find it quite relaxing, just to, because you don't have to shade obviously with gel pens unless you choose to blend them. But yeah, that's the only page I've actually coloured, which shame on me. I must do that. I do like to do the this book belongs to on pages, so I must come back and do that. But yeah, that's all I've actually coloured in it. And as I say, the next part of this series will include the drawings that I've done from the how to draw tutorials. So next I'm going to do Enchanted Garden. So if you have seen my colouring book collections, I will leave a link to the playlist for my entire colouring book collection videos. You will find out the explanation for why my books, my Johanna Basford books, are covered in Christmas paper. It's the same as well for World of Flowers. Yeah, you'll have to check out those videos if you want to know why. But I've not done too much in this one. I haven't had this book too long. For being such a Johanna Basford fangirl, I haven't had this too long. I don't even have all her books. Eventually I plan to get them, but I'm so slow at colouring that I want to make sure that I get some pictures coloured out of each one before I progress to the next, because I'm terrible in that I will have a tendency to colour out the last book I bought. Anyway, I've done this spread. Basically, the border I've done, I'm not sure if you can see it. The border is done entirely in gel pen. Yes, I've done blue leaves. I have no problem with that. And I've done the silhouettes. I've coloured these in with black glitter gel pen as well. So they've got a bit of sheen to them. And then in the background, what I've done is I've pulled out the chalk pastels. And I've gone a bit wild with those. It's got all the colours. It's really, because I used all the colours in the border, I figured I may as well use all the colours in the background. So yeah, this is the Mungyo chalk pastels, and I literally just threw everything on. As long as there was a mixture, it all went on. And I actually really like how it turned out. I might not have put on that chalk pastel if not for one thing, and that is I had a couple of very small splodges of gel pen, and as is the case with some of my backgrounds, they only go on to camouflage my mess. So in this case I put some pastels on, just even though you can still see where I've splodged it. I think I dropped the gel pen, which is very, very me. And yeah, so I put it on to take the eye off, and there, just so people would look at the colours and maybe not notice the gel pen splodges that I've just pointed out to you. But anyway, I really like how that turned out, even though it's not even like a real page. It's just like an introduction page, but I love how that turned out. And the only other thing I'm doing in here is a whip. So I started this last autumn, and then I went into my bit of a colouring funk and I stopped colouring it. And even though I'm back to colouring now, he feels quite autumnal with his browns. I'm going to do him as a red squirrel. I was going to be really wild though, and I've used, because he's using browns and oranges, I thought I'm going to make some of it blue. So I do intend to just keep him a limited palette with just the orange, the browns and the blues as the, you know, the deeper tone. Hopefully that won't make him look super weird. But yeah, eventually I will get back in the mood to colour in a picture like that. But it's not on my radar at the moment. But I really like how he started out, and I hope to get back to him soon. My little squirrel. So that, yeah, that's Enchanted Garden. No, Enchanted Forest. I know what I'm talking about, really. And next we have World of Flowers. So I have done the This Book Belongs To page. I did that all in Black Widows, if I recall. I've got a little bit of splattering, the same technique I used in that Disney book, where I just get the watercolour pencil and then I just flick it off with my water brush pen. Water brush, that's what I meant. And also I've just put a little hint of pastels around it as well. To be honest, that might have been a little bit of overkill. Probably could have done one or the other, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I quite like how it turns out. I never put my name in for some reason. Does anybody else do that? I cover the This Book Belongs To page all the time because I really like those nameplate pages, but I never actually put my name in it, which is strange. Okay, so the next thing I've done is, I really like this book. This is my favourite of her books, and I really need to get back to it. So this is one I've started, as you can see, it's a whip. It's a rare occasion, but I've actually followed the Chris Cheng tutorial, and I don't do it exactly like her. I never do anybody's tutorial exactly like they do it, if for no other reason that half the time I don't have all the pencil sets. I don't have a full set of Prismas, so, and I'm sure she did hers in Prismas if I recall. So there was a fair amount of, you know, ad-libbing, shall we say, with what I was using and how I was using it. But I like how it's turning out. Whether I will go, I should probably go back and do the other three using her tutorial, because it would probably look a bit, you know, that might stand out as being a different style. So eventually I'll go back and do the other parts, but for now that's all I have done. And then another page that I've done a bit just as a whip. Have I gone past it? Yeah, sorry, I missed that one. That's another whip one. Just one day I had the urge, I did that in Prismas if I recall. I just had the urge to put some colour to paper, and not a lot of time, so I just quickly did some flowers. That's probably how I'm going to approach this whole double page spread eventually. It'll just be something I dip in and out of, and then eventually one day, one year, it'll be completed. So this one is quite a simple one. I coloured, I think I used my luminance for the blue, but I think I've used Black Widows for the rest, because I wanted, yeah. So yeah, a nice simple one. I might have used my luminance for the green as well, because that looks quite, I don't have many luminance pencils, maybe like 13 or 14 of them. So, but I'll bust them out when I can. But anyway, yeah, so I've done those in pencils anyway. I've got a little gel pen there. Johanna sometimes puts these little speckles, which are, I don't know, I guess are pollen, little circles. And I never know quite what to do with them. So I circled them in sort of neon yellow, just to make them feel like pollen, I guess. And then, as you can see, I've used the pastels again in the background to just finish it off. So that's the one. I did that on the 20th of April 2019. And another one I've done. So this is a gel pen one. Like I say, I have no problem busting out the gel pens. And this was for a wallpaper page. I put in, I think I used my Tombow black pen for that. I don't have any Tombows except for I've got the black and I've got the blender, you know, the brush pens, because the black is perfect for these sorts of backgrounds. But I do have to be careful, because if you put your finger on it, it does come off on your fingers. Hence the piece of paper here to protect the page opposite. But yeah, all in glitter gel pen. As I say, I put the black background on it, and I did that on the 23rd of June 2019. Nice and simple, nothing fussy, super colourful, and yeah, that was something I do just in the same, you know, when I'm in that same mind to do a mandala. It's just thoughtless, you know, colouring. I just grab pens and do whatever the hell I like, basically. And I think I've started on this one. So this one again is glitter gel pens. These was done, I started with the Pentel Dual Metallic. I remember I was having a super bad day. You know, it wasn't like anything terrible, it wasn't like a disaster, but you know when you have one of those days where just everything you touch seems to go, nothing is straightforward. It was just like one problem after another, and it wasn't, I'm not going to make out that it was like some terrible disaster, but I was just like in such a grumpy mood because everything I seemed to do was going wrong. Anyway, so I grabbed a book and I grabbed my Pentel Dual Metallics because they're my favourite gel pens, and just was like, right, fine, I'm just going to go wild. And then clearly I got it out of my system because I only done half, that's how far I got. But yeah, so one day I'll have to go back and actually finish this, which is a bit of a bummer really, because in hindsight, wasting my hybrid, my dual metallic gel pens on a wallpaper page, not just a wallpaper page of one, but a spread. Bit of a waste of ink, but yeah. At the time, I was just like, I just need that pick me up to make me feel better. And I think that is it. Yeah, that's all I've done from that one. As I say, World of Flowers is my absolute favourite of her books, so I need to get back to that one. Okay, and on to the final books. Last but certainly not least, these are my Secret Gardens by Johanna Basford. I have the artist edition, and this is my first real, along with the Doctor Who book that was in part 1, I think. Those I both got for my birthday in very early May 2018. So these basically the first real colouring books I ever got. Now I'll start quickly with the artist edition because I've only done one thing in here, and I've not even done it. It's just a whip, and it's not even a real whip. It was a test page on something that I didn't like the image very much, but it was on, like, the paper in here is basically card, and I wanted to try it on card. So I didn't mind, because this I got for £2.99 in Ollie's, which is about £2.30 I think. So I don't mind that I haven't wasted pages on just testing. So this was when I got my Arteza watercolour pencils, which I got for Christmas. As you can see, I've made a bit of a mess. I've gone over the edges, and I've got some muddy situations here where I'm still trying to figure out what colours blend well into others as watercolours, because they don't act the same way as pencils do, that's for sure. And some of them are alright, but some of them are a bit, yeah. But eventually I will probably go back to this page, finish off the flowers and leaves in the watercolours. I'll still use the watercolours, because God knows I still need to practice as well. And then I'll just slap on a black acrylic background or something like that, which will cover up all the messes, and it'll probably look alright, to be honest, once it's finished with a background. But for now, it's just a sad, lonely test page in my artist edition. And then next we have Secret Garden, the book. Now, if you're wondering about the cover being coloured in, not because I was feeling particularly creative, but because I'll show you the back. As you can see, it's, well, let's just be generous and say it's well loved. It's seen a lot of action. It's dirty, it's grubby. Obviously, at the time, I didn't care. It's not that I didn't care about the book, but I wasn't precious about it. So, you know, if I slung it about on the desk or on the shelf or whatever, I didn't really take care of it. That's why the others are in wrapping paper now, by the way. If you don't go back to see the collection, the reason I wrapped up my other books is to protect the covers. But anyway, I've done this in alcohol markers. You'll see it's bled through. And then the background itself, I did in one of those big intensity, it was a metallic marker, but there's something about this paper that I guess kind of just sucked in that sheen, because it's actually quite matte effect. It's not shiny at all, nothing metallic about it. But yeah, that's alright, because the words are in foil, so they still stand out. But anyway, that's the reason why my colour is coloured as it is. So now we have the not the content page, but you know what I mean. I did this all in glitter gel pens. There's it shiny. As you can see, I don't care. I've got blue leaves again. I wouldn't say I just picked up anything, because clearly I've thought about, I've got the two pinks, I've got the yellows with the purples which colour match, pinks and blues, so purples and orange and yellows, so I have colour matched it in that sense. But apart from that, I didn't mind that I've got pink leaves, I've got blue leaves, I've got bronze leaves. I basically coloured it in without any rules, and I really like how it turned out, especially on the letters, because you know these words here are made out of leaves and flowers, and it's so colourful. I love this page. And I didn't even plan it that way. I just wanted something easy to colour, so I bust out the gel pens and thought that would be a good one. But I really like how that turned out. It's nice and colourful. Yeah. So this is the this book belongs to page, as per usual. I never actually put my name in there. But I did this again with gel pens. This time I've used metallic gel pens. This is obviously one of the first pictures I did. I finished it on the 1st of June 2018. So a month after I got the book. I remember at the time I spent a lot of time looking at this book and not actually colouring it, because one, I didn't know what to colour first, and two, I was actually terrified. Looking back, it's funny, but I was so precious about it. I was like, I don't want to ruin the book, it's so pretty. And then I'm finally come to this realisation, it's like, but if you never colour in it, then it's not yours. I mean, it's just a book sitting on the shelf, isn't it? Whereas now that I've coloured in it, that's not just a book, it's my book. And if you never colour in a book, even if you mess it up, it's still yours. You just, you know, own it, own what you like, own your mistakes, but it's still yours, it's unique, and there's nothing wrong even with mistakes. So I finally got over that, thankfully, but yeah, it's probably took me about a month before I got up the guts to actually just do such a simple thing as this. Metallic gel pens, and also those sort of pastel colour gel pens, which have a really funny chalky consistency. I don't like them much. Now this one I did in gel pens. Again, like I say, a lot of people like to do Johanna's books in pencils. I have no problem with the smaller images where they've got the smaller flowers anyway. I have no problems doing things in gel pens. Not everything needs blending. So these aren't even glitter ones, they're just the regular pink and green. I kept it really, really simple. And I've got a tiny, teeny little bit of glitter gold on the butterflies, what do you call them, his little antenna things. But apart from that, I did actually do a bit of blending on this though. Because see, we've gone from the dark pink to the lighter pink. So I did do a little bit of blending on my gel pens, but not a lot. But I like that. I like when I don't do it enough, but when I limit the palette, I really like the effect. Anything in there? Right, so this was one I did on the 21st, well, I finished it on the 21st of June 2018. So again, one of the very first pictures I did. I did this as part of a colour challenge in the Johanna Basford Your Pages Facebook group. And I think it was, as it's June, it must have been for Pride Month or something. Basically, it was a rainbow challenge anyway. So I started it off red, orange, yeah, going to the yellows and greens and through. So that's the rainbow. Also, I did a little rainbow slug. It's so cute. I love my rainbow slug. And I did this with Marco Raffines because those are the only pencils I had at the time. And the other thing I tried for the first time, I put a little bit of shadow underneath this leaf. And when I was doing it on the page, I'm like, oh, that really looks really weird. But I left it. And then when I took the picture to post in the Facebook group, I was like, oh, I know, that really works. So that's another reminder that sometimes how something looks to your eye in person when you're close up, you're staring, you're getting really close, you're staring. You don't always see how it looks when you're a bit more detached and further away, and that's one thing I had to learn. Things look different when you're not putting it under a microscope. So this is a whip. I started this page when I picked up a few open stock ink tents, so basically I was just using the greens to see how they would work. I had a little bit of bleed. So I think that's just me being heavy with the water, because I only had it in the one place. I kind of got the idea eventually, but none of the red bled through. So this one I'll eventually go back and finish, because I don't want to say, because I keep saying that how I never get bored colouring leaves, but I think in the end I just got a bit bored colouring leaves just with my ink tents. Yeah. So eventually I will go back and just do more of the leaves, and then I've just got the door to finish off. But yeah, that's a page I'm doing in ink tents. And then the next page, oh, what's going on there? Oh, how rude. Okay, so I'll come to that in a minute, that guilty culprit. No. Okay, so here's a page I've done. I've done that in gel pen. I'm thinking about it, I've used gel pen quite a lot in this book. It's all glitter, and I've done a little bit of blending on these leaves just to give them tips, and then I've put on a chalk pastel background for that. Very simple. These were the things I used to do before I got mandala books or the stencil books, things like that. I would bust out something with small areas to do in gel pen. That was my mindless colouring. And this who is the guilty culprit for just pulling up a little bit of my page there because it got stuck. So I got some foil. You know, you get like you get a little glue pen and you glue it down, and then you get sheets of foil that you put over the top, and then you rub it and peel it back and it leaves the foil behind. And I thought I'll do it on a test page here because I don't like this page, it's full of bugs. And then it worked okay. I mean, it was a little bit patchy, but that's okay because it was the first time I'd ever tried doing it. And you know, you don't get things perfect straight away, and it's a really nice effect. But you can see like the blotches where I've kind of not got the foil down properly, and what I did is I put a bit more glue down and then went over the top again with more foil. It didn't really do much for it, it just made it a little bit more patchier. But obviously there was a bit that I missed and there was a bit of glow there. But what I found out quite quickly though is that you can actually feel it through the page because of the glue, and it's not much, but it's a little bit. If I coloured over it, there's a risk of it, you know, when it leaves that line because it's got a bump. So I didn't do any more. I was like, right, okay, I'll just leave it at that, and then I'll just be really careful on this page, and then hopefully it won't notice. But I didn't even think of it sticking to that page. I'll have to put some paper in there. But anyway, yeah, I've got the foil set. I must practice that more because it's a really nice effect when I can get it right. Okay, so again, this is one of the first pictures that I ever did. Even though I finished it on the 28th of July 2018, I remember it was one of the first ones I did. The reason it took so long to finish is because I made a bit of a mess up. So I think I ran out of gel pen. I did this all in gel pens, and this is the chalky ones again, and I've done the outlines just with glitter gel pen. But I ran out of gel pen of a colour, and I thought that's alright, I'll just go over with a slightly darker one because that'll be fine, that'll work. Except of course you could tell the difference in colour. So then I tried to fix it, and then that didn't work, and then I realised I'd taken out all the key lines, so I tried to put in a key line again, made a mess of that, so I had to go over that again. So that's why I've got these couple of little splodges. Apart from that page would be alright. Obviously I was brand new, so I didn't know how to fix my mistakes. I would tackle that a bit differently now, but yeah, at the time that was like, oh my god, it's a disaster. It wasn't a disaster, but you know what it's like when you're starting out. It's the end of the world. Something goes wrong and it's the end of the world. Whereas after you've been colouring for a while, you realise that you make mistakes all the time, and if everything was then the end of the world, then you'd never get anything finished. So this one I finished on the 9th of June. This was the first picture I ever did with my Marco Raffines. First picture I ever tried to do shading on and blending, which, you know, the Marco Raffines, they work all right, but they're not the best on this paper, and I'm quite heavy-handed, so it wasn't the ideal one to try and learn hard pencils on. But, you know, for a first attempt, I tried to do a bit of you know, light source where I've got the berries, a lighter that side and darker that side. Got a bit of shadow under my ladybird. So yeah, I'm quite pleased for my first attempt ever of doing like shading and things like that. You know, I look back at that, I'm proud of that. It's obviously very far from being perfect, but yeah, I learned a lot doing that picture. Even though it wore me out because I did so much thinking. So much thinking. Right, so this is a page that I've just finished this month. You might have seen it in my July finished pages as well. I actually started it in 2018, I remember, because the World Cup was on. And it was a Facebook challenge, again in the Johanna Basford Your Pages Facebook group. They had a challenge on to do it in basically black and white, so you could use greys as well, but black and white plus one colour. So I was like, right, black, white, orange. And I thought I had a month to do this challenge, and it turned out I only had 2 weeks. So I was like only half, I don't think I was even halfway through. I'm such a plodder. You wouldn't be surprised to learn that when I was at school, like, no matter how long I had to do my homework, I was usually the one finishing it on the night before it had to be turned in, because I could never, you know, deadlines and me, I always leave it to the last minute. So I was nowhere near finished at the 2 week mark. And yeah, the challenge was over, so I was like, and I basically abandoned. Well, I didn't abandon it, but it was there was no urgency to finish it, so I didn't. And then finally I got around to finishing it off this month. And again, I really like how this turned out. I love it's just I used a fine liner for the orange, and then I used, because I'd started it in the Marker Raffines at the time, I went back and finished it in the Marker Raffines because it would have looked a bit odd, I think, if I'd have switched pencils halfway through. And the black was actually done with a black gel pen, not glitter, just plain black, but it doesn't bleed through. But yeah, these limited palettes, I really like how they turn out. I must do more of them because it produces a really cool effect, and it makes pages more interesting. If you do get bored with doing flowers and leaves, that's a good way to, you know, spice things up a bit. So here's another one I've done in glitter gel pen. Do you know what? I'm going to put that piece of paper in where that bug was. Where was he? There. And then that bug won't stick to my page again. Okay, so this one I've done in glitter gel pen again. And a bit of metallic. So I've done all the leaves in metallic. And I've done this. This was a kind of mistake in hindsight, because I've done part in glitter and then I did part in Signo gel pen, and I did these leaves, which is the Pentel Dual Metallic, which shifts colour. So it starts off green, but if you shift it, it turns blue. But that's a bit of a mistake-ish, really, in the end, because obviously it just stands out really. It's a different, you know, it's a different league to a cheapy metallic gel pen, so it just makes the differences in quality stand out. Obviously I like how it turns blue and green, but it just makes the remaining parts of the picture look duller than it would have otherwise. But yeah, again, another picture I've just done in gel pen. And this one. Okay, I really like how this turned out. And the funny thing about this is it was all open stock pencils. So basically I bought myself 3 luminants. So I bought a light, I can't remember the colours, but it was basically a light blue, a dark blue and the buff titanium luminants. And then I bought some polychromos. So I bought 3 green polychromos and 2 pink polychromos, because I wanted to find out if I liked them or not. And so that's in the entire picture is done with just those, what did I say, 8 pencils. So it just goes to show you don't need full sets to make a good picture, because I really like how this turned out. I've put the Mungyo chalk pastels in the background again. I did this on the 28th of October 2018, or at least that's when I finished it. But yeah, so the blue flowers are done with the luminants, and the green leaves and the pink flowers are done with the polychromos. For the record, I love the luminants. Those are my guilty pleasures that I'm gradually building up from open stocks. The polychromos, they're all right. if I found a good deal for them on Amazon or somewhere, I would probably buy them, but I'm focusing on getting the luminance at this point. One day I will get more polychromos, but not for a while. But yeah, so that was that little DPS. And I do have something else. Right, okay, so this is a work in progress. Quite old as well. So it means it was started with my marker affines, where I just wanted the water, and I've done some shading because I wanted it to be, you know, around the lily pads and stuff. I won't finish this, I don't think, in marker affines. It doesn't matter if there's a different type of texture for these bits, because it's a completely different part of the picture. Whereas that other black and orange one, it would have looked weird if I switched pencils, because I've done part of it in black pencil. But yeah, the idea is I need to do the lily pads and the goldfish, but I spent so long doing this background. I don't like backgrounds in pencil. I'm not something I'm in a hurry to do again, but I spent so long doing the background in pencil that I'd kind of lost interest in the picture by the time I got to the part where I had to colour the rest. But eventually I'll get back to it. And then I think I've just got one more. Yeah, just the one more. So we got this last page. Again, surprise, surprise, it's in glitter gel pen. And it's my heart. So I've done this in the Uniball Signos for the most part. And then I've used... yeah, I've not used Posca. I've used that black... Did I use Posca? I can't tell, and I don't want to put my hand on it too much because glitter comes off and goes everywhere. I've either used a black Posca or the Tombow brush pen again for this. I think it was Posca. And then I've just used the red, the pink and the gold Uniball Signo. And I finished this on the 31st of May 2019. So I think, if I recall, I got the Signos for my birthday. And that's why it's got coloured in so soon afterwards. But yeah, really pretty. Like how that turned out. Nice and bold as well. And yeah, that's all in this book. And that is my final book on this series of things coloured in. As I say, I've got one more part to come, and that will be all my like single pages that have been done on PDFs and things like that. So everything that's been printed out, and also, as I say, it will include my Johanna Basford drawings from How to Draw Inky Wonderlands. So thanks so much for watching. Sorry, I think it's turned into a bit of a long one this. I didn't mean it to be so long. If you're still here, I would appreciate a big thumbs up, because I'm a new channel, so that really helps. And if you haven't subscribed already, then do hit the button, and if you hit the little bell, you'll get a notification of when I upload new videos. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, have a good day, and see you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.